brought me through the fire. The blessings fall like rain upon me. And in these days when I am stronger, let me remember you are my strength and shelter, more than I can understand. Into your heart I melt completely, and all the ways I had been broken are like a child again. I dwell in innocent love, and your house shall be my house forever. Innocent love, only your goodness and your mercy follow me. One step at a time, embrace me now in all I do, and any way I've been unkind, just let it fade into my love for you. Holy Spirit flowing strong, within your arms I am forever, and any good I think I've done is only you inside my willingness. Innocent love, your house shall be my house forever. Innocent love, only your goodness and your mercy follow me. When a desire for fortune, fame, or glory takes your soul, it can make you cry. So many tears and questions. Where is God and where do I belong? Only God could bring me back to life, and here in God I live to be. God never leaves me, never could. My God is good and always loving me, pulling me through. You pulled me through the fire, and the blessings fall like rain upon me. And in these days when I am stronger, let me remember you are my strength and shelter, more than I will understand. Into your heart I melt completely, and with your hand in my hand, I am like a child again. I dwell in innocent love. Oh, and your house shall be my house forever. Innocent love.
like to welcome you to the celebration today, Open Heart Spiritual Center celebration. I'd also like to say Happy Father's Day. And I'd like to just know that we are all here present, and let's just let go of anything that has come before this time so that we can be present here in this moment. I know that oftentimes we get busy and allow that monkey mind, we call it, to run on. But let's just allow that to set aside for now, for this next little bit, and center ourselves and be present. Let's just take a breath. Breathing in this breath and releasing this breath and releasing all that has come before this time. Allowing ourselves today is a new day. This is a new celebration. We're celebrating fathers on this day, as well as we're celebrating one another, because every day is a new day and it's time for celebration. It doesn't have to be any special occasion to celebrate. Let's just celebrate breath and celebrate life. And allow ourselves to just remember that there's one mind that is within each and every single one of us, that is in all things here on this planet. And knowing that that one mind is that intelligence and that wisdom and that divine perfection that is in each one of us. And just allowing ourselves to be open and receptive today to receive the message. And I just give thanks for the song. Oftentimes we hear the music, but we don't allow ourselves to feel it. Today I invite you to feel the music. Allow yourself to feel that. And there's a message in the music. And for the messenger, opening up and allowing the conduit of the divine energy and divine source of God, Spirit, Allah, Buddha, whomever you call. It doesn't care about a name. It only cares that you call and listen and allow it to just pour itself into you. And so as we just are here and now, present wherever we are, and knowing that we might not be with someone where we are, or we might have a mate, or even watching with our family, but knowing that we're all watching together, because we are Open Heart Spiritual Center family. And I just give thanks for this day. I release this knowing into the law that it's already done, and let the celebration begin. And so it is.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right. Okay. I ain't got my remote.
So do you have to hold that or?
Here we go. I'm not worried about tomorrow. Today I declare freedom from yesterday, mistakes of the past. Today all things are made brand new. And don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should? I can change my reality by changing my mind. Perfect peace, joy, and happiness is yours and it's mine. I am loved and so are you. And don't it feel good to know all is well and unfolding as it should. All is well, all is well. Divine Spirit is directing you right now. In the spirit, I am fed by love divine. I am one with all there is. My soul is free from time. I am blessed, and so are you.
What comes from the heart reaches the heart. Good morning and welcome to our Heartstream for this Sunday, June the 15th. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. This is our day. And I said our because I am proud to be a father. And I wish each and every one of you a very happy Father's Day. To my own father, Bishop Marshall Gilmore, happy Father's Day, Daddy. I love you. I'm so glad to be your son. And I'd also like to wish happy Father's Day to my son, Kenneth Barnes, who is an excellent father. I love seeing the work that he does, how he loves his children and the things he does with them. And so many more of you out there. I also acknowledge the fact, as I always do first, that to be a father does not mean that you have to be the biological father of someone, because in many people's cases, there's a person who has played the role of a father, been a father figure to people who has nurtured and provided for and done so many other things. Also, the second thing I also acknowledge, that this can be a complex and a very difficult time and a difficult day for people. One is because very often relationships with fathers have been complicated over the years. It's not something new, but something has taken place for a very long time. And so there are people who have problems and difficulties with this day. Also because this day will remind people very often of those who have transitioned, the fathers in their lives, and so many other things. And so my heart goes out to you. My prayers go out on your behalf. And I continue to see you. I see you. And I hold the light for you as well. All in all, though, this is a day to acknowledge the presence of fathers, the presence of the divine within each. And I'm very happy to celebrate on this day. There are other things that are coming. I'll be teaching the class at Unity Christian Church. If you recall, a number of years ago, there was a course that I offered at Open Heart that was called Thinking Makes It So. I'm redesigning that course. It will take place at Unity, but there will also be an online option available for those of you who would not be able to make it in person. The details are forthcoming. I'm still putting the finishing touches on that, and we'll get things launched very soon. Right now, it looks like 6 weeks, and it will begin sometime in the month of July. But as I said, you'll be getting information about that very, very soon. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for the energy that you put out. Thank you for your contributions and your support. And let's continue to get the word about Open Heart out, about our Heartstream out, also about Unity out, because this is not just about me and my relationship with Unity as the senior minister, but it's about the two congregations who are working in a very synergistic and collaborative way on a number of things. And so it's an opportunity for us to be able to offer for people in the Memphis area an in-person opportunity for people who have expressed an interest in that in the past. I also will say too that it looks like, because I know that for several weeks the live stream for Unity's service, our celebration at 11, we've had problems with getting that to stream, but it looks as if we've gotten those things taken care of, holding the space for that we'll be able again on Sunday, on today, to be able to begin streaming live again. If you go to unitychristianchurch.us, you should be able to see the stream on YouTube. And thankful to being able to get that back in order. And as always, I greet you, I bless you, I see God in you.
Today is a day like no other day. Just think and you'll know that it's true. Days like today should be holidays. So I'm singing this message to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just Just have a happy day.
There are several ways to give to Open Heart: through our Cash App at OHSC901, online at OHSC901.com, or text the word GIVE to 615-422-4290.
A powerful way to start or continue your day is with our daily prayer call. Each morning, at 8 a.m. Central Time, a prayer team member provides an inspirational reading and an affirmative prayer. Join us at 901-586-8755.
June is Pride Month, and at Open Heart, we have intentionally been inclusive, and we unhesitatingly and wholeheartedly support our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, non-binary, and queer friends, their rights, their marriages, their pursuits of happiness, and their breath. And this is also true July through May, all year around. We're not new to this. We're true to this. Join us at 11 a.m. for the Sunday celebration at Unity Christian Church. We'd love to have you come out, 3345 McCorkle Road. And if you're not able to be here in person, you can also watch the service at unitychristianchurch.us, the website. Love to see you. This collaboration between these two magnificent congregations.
I am a mountain, I am a tall tree, oh, I am a swift wind, sweeping the country. I am a river, down in the valley, oh, I am a vision, and I can see clearly. If anybody asks you who I am, just stand up tall, look them in the face and say, I'm that star up in the sky, I'm that mountain peak so high. Hey, I made it, I'm the world's greatest, and I'm that little bit of hope. When my back against the road, I can feel it, I'm the world's greatest. I am a giant, I am an eagle, Oh, I am a lion down in the jungle. I am a marching band. I am the people. Oh, I am a helping hand. And I am a hero. If anybody asks you who I am, just stand up tall, look him in the face and say, I'm that star up in the sky. I'm that mountain peak so high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. And I'm that little bit of hope when my back against the road. I can feel it. I'm the world's greatest. I will reign. Oh yeah. Satellite. Me. Baby, I'm that little bit of hope, yeah. I can feel it, yeah. Whoa, star up in the sky. Yeah, I made it, and I'm that little bit of hope, yeah. Oh, against the road. I can feel it. Not so long at the end of the tunnel, leaving the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And people's right there pulled me through, yeah. Used to be alive, no. Now I can just walk through. In the sky, I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. I'm that little bit of hope when my back's up against the ropes. I can feel it. I'm the world's greatest.
You know, a lot of times when it comes to my messages, oftentimes because the way my mind works, it will go to things that are maybe a little bit non-traditional, and I make connections sometimes, and I wonder if other people see the connections, are aware of the connections that I'm making. And today is no different, because today I'm talking about the fatherhood connection in relationship to the fact that it is Father's Day. But I'm looking at it from two perspectives. I'm looking at it from the perspective of celebrating Father's Day, but also the idea of maleness and what I call a theology of maleness. And I know I could get into a lot of things as it relates to gender and all of that, but I just want to keep it simple. I just want to talk about today a theology of maleness and extend that to fathers, for we know that many males end up being fathers. And that is, putting it at its simplest, but just what that means and how it is important to acknowledge those things. Because I also know that within the context of the church, very often what you see missing in a lot of congregations are the men. You go there and it's dominated by women, which I have no problem with. And I wish that there were more churches who would acknowledge that, in the sense of allowing them into positions of leadership, including that of pastors and and bishops or whatever kind of titles and positions and responsibilities. But ultimately, we know that very often you can go in places and see a dearth of men there. And I'm so glad that with both with Open Heart and Unity, that's not necessarily the case. I'd like to see more, but I am appreciative for those of you who are there and who are very faithful in your participation, your support, and everything else. But so let's just get into the message this morning and talk about that. Because most of the time, the consideration of what it means to be a male is talked about in relationship to others. Father, grandfather, uncle, son, brother, husband, boyfriend, partner, running buddy, dog are often in negative terms. A hustler, a pimp, a player, a baller, a gangbanger, a thug, a hood, a hoodlum, and so many other things. But today is Father's Day. And I know that very often Father's Day can be very difficult for people because there are oftentimes complex relationships with father, complex ideas of what it means to be a father and experiences with fathers. And we know, and I've said this before, that we know that back in the day when we still had landlines, I know there are some people who still do, but back in the day, Mother's Day was the day that the most phone calls were made. But Father's Day was the day when the most collect calls were made. Some of you may not know what I'm talking about when I say collect calls now, but back in the day, that's what it was. It literally was the fact that the highest number of collect calls happened on Father's Day. And when I talk about theology, a theology of maleness, it's a word that some people are not always sure of its meaning, the ways in which it's used, and sometimes they'll just simply go, that's deep. But theology at its basis is when we start talking about God talk and where we start talking about our ideas and all of that. And the theology of maleness means to talk about what it means to be a male in relationship to God. And this morning you might be asking yourself, are there differences? And yes and no. But in the relationship this morning, I'd like to look at the relationship between God and Moses, to consider that relationship. And oftentimes Moses is used as a model for leadership, but I think that his maleness today takes on a special meaning when you consider his birth, you consider his beginning, because it was his being male, a Hebrew male to be more exact, that made him a threat back in the day. If you recall, there was an order that was out to destroy all of the male Hebrew children. And that made his past even more important because there was a threat that was against him. And yet, despite the threat, we have the story of God delivering him past the threat. Not because Moses was more important or Moses was more special than others, because we know that God doesn't play favorites. And I know how the story is written. You could come to that conclusion in some ways, but God doesn't play favorites ultimately. And when we look at this story, but we know that ultimately Moses was delivered from the threat because that's how God is for each of us. And I'm going to go on and dive even deeper and talk about for a moment as a black man, because I know that my existence is seen as a threat by many. And I know that. But yet, when I look at the fact that we too have made it, in fact, matter of fact, gotten through the threats and the kinds of things for our lives and situations, unfortunately, where we find ourselves losing our lives, that we're who are dead, who are in prison, lament the ones who aren't here, the ones who are not in our congregations, but thank God for the ones who are. As Moses grew and became a young man, we know the story. He made a grave mistake. He saw someone being mistreated and went to his defense, and he ended up killing a man. I bring this up because I also want to talk about the notion that in order for God to use us, we feel as if we have to be perfect. As a matter of fact, very often People will point to the flaws and the mistakes and the past of people as reasons for why they're not suited for being used by God, if you will. But let's be honest. All of us have things in our past that we are less than proud of. So a part of being a male in relationship to God is not about infallibility, but about availability. Availability. About being open to God. And I don't want to romanticize things, because when we look at that, Moses' availability to God didn't come immediately nor easily. If we think about the burning bush moment that Moses had, where he was tending sheep on the backside of Mount Horeb, and he noticed a bush that was burning, but it wasn't burning up. It wasn't consumed. It was just simply on fire. And as Moses approached the bush and heard the voice to say, Moses, take your shoes off, for the ground on which you are standing is holy ground, and began telling the story that, I have seen the things that my people are going through. I've heard their cries, and I am come down to deliver them. And Moses listened to all of that and said, hey, God, that's great, but can you get somebody else? Are you sure you want me? Can you get somebody else? I said that it's about availability rather than infallibility, because Moses was looking at his past. He was looking at his circumstances and thinking, surely I'm not the one. But it's also about trust, because as that conversation took place, the burning bush, Moses was feeling overwhelmed and scared. And he is honest. He says, well, what if they don't believe me nor listen to me, saying the Lord didn't appear to you? And God's reply to the shepherd tending sheep was very simple. What's that in your hand? And Moses looked, realized that God was referring to the staff that was in his hand. It's just a simple, ordinary staff that Moses carried, that shepherds use every day for walking, for guiding their sheep, for killing snakes, for protecting their flock. All of the things there that were part of that was simply represented by that staff that was in Moses' hand. And I don't want us to get caught up in the signs and wonders, because it's not about that, but it's about God and Moses. Because if you remember the story, that staff that Moses was carrying, it turns into a snake, something that Pharaoh's magicians can do too. So, it was something for him to do, to show, to demonstrate when he went before Pharaoh as evidence that he had been sent by God. But Pharaoh's magicians could do that also. So it's not about signs and wonders, but it's about God and you. It's about God and me. It's about how God calls us to do things, to be in places, to become open to whatever it is that God would have us to do. And he has Moses to take that staff, to throw it on the ground. It turns into a snake. And then he instructs Moses to pick it up by the tail. Now, you might be saying, oh, okay, that's all right, small detail. But pick it up by the tail, because we know that when you pick a snake up, most of the time, most often, you will pick it up behind its head so that it's not able to bite you. But if you pick it up by the tail, most snakes can curl around and bite you. But Moses was getting a lesson in trust, in trusting God. Now Moses is being called by God to do something special, being called by God to do something important. But about that whole idea of relationship, that there had to be a level of trust there. And Moses was demonstrating in that moment his trust in God, because as he picked it up and he was able to do that, he understood that there was something else that was going on. Because you see, God wasn't calling Moses to be a superhero, because superheroes work under their own power. But in this case, Moses was working under God's power, working by God's power, allowing God's power to flow and to work through him. That to be a male, that to be a father even, means to work under God's power. Because here it's about trust more than about heroics. When we can get to the point and get to the stage where we trust that what we are connected to, where we trust that what is flowing through us, where we trust that is available to us and that is guiding and directing and strengthening and empowering us, when we can begin to trust that thing, we become in that place, in that space where God does what it is that God does. And as Moses was able to do this, as Moses was able in that moment to perform that demonstration and get the lessons that he was getting in that encounter, that allowed him to be able to move into his position of leadership. And when he did, guess what? Moses found that, just like people who move into leadership positions, that there were problems. There were the uncooperative people. There were the impossible odds. There were so many things that were going on against Moses. I think about the song, if it ain't one thing, it's another. But in that process, because Moses had the opportunity to, first of all, demonstrate his trust in God. And then we know that as the story continues and unfolds, there was a relationship. There was an intimacy between Moses and God. And as men, as males, as men, however it is that we're talking about this morning, as fathers, we know that there's some things that we face. There's some odds, racism, unemployment, crime, health problems, you name it. Men face it. You name it, it is there. You name it, it are things and struggles that we very often have to go through. And that's what happened with Moses, and it's no different from us. But I think that what happens ultimately is that this story sums up the idea that it's about our relationship. It's about our having an intimate relationship with God. And instead of seeing Moses as being something special, again, as I talk about this very often, is that when we start looking at those people who accomplish things through the power of God, it's not because they are the exception, but because they are the example. Moses stands as another example for what it is that we can do and how it is that we can be when we connect with God, when we have that relationship with God. That was how Moses dealt with his problems and his difficulties. That is how, despite the odds that are against us, despite the things that we are facing, despite the things that are going on in the world around us, the things that are going on in our world inside of us, being able to address those things because of our connection with God, to be able to identify, if you will, what our theme for this month talks about, the fill the womb of infinite possibilities, the fertile womb of infinite possibilities. Sounds weird to be talking about fatherhood and maleness and then talk about a womb. But ultimately, we know that we give birth to ideas. We give birth to our imagination that allows us to be able to manifest and see things in our lives. And that's ultimately what Moses did. And I'm saying that today to say to each and every one of you, when we respect and when we cultivate and when we allow the relationship with God, that intimacy with God, that trust in God, all of those things to flow and come forth through us, then we find ourselves in a place where we understand what it means to be people who are standing proud, men who are standing proud as representatives, as expressions, as extensions of God, right here where we are in this world. Ricky Byers sings the song, My Connection with God. She says, I was looking for fortune, searching hard for fame, because I thought that money would ease my pain. Yes, I wanted a big car and a house by the ocean. I was getting nowhere. It was wasted emotion till one day I realized to seek first the kingdom, and all the things and everything have been added unto me. Now I know the Spirit is my supply, and God's abundance is larger than the sky. A life of service is now my mission, And all that I pray for is already given because I live in the fellowship of the kingdom. But I used to think that I needed somebody, but all that I needed was my connection with God. I used to think that I needed somebody, but all that I needed was my connection with God, the fatherhood connection. That as fathers today, I challenge each and every one of you who are fathers, whether you are a biological father or you played the role of father, the nurturer and guider and all of that in the lives of others, that this is your day. And I'm reminding you of the fatherhood connection and that connection that you have with God. Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.